Hey, welcome back, everybody. Rhett Van Scooter here with Marianne Tuttle.
Hi, everyone.
We're apart, but we're together.
Oh, that sounds good.
That's right.
That sounds pretty good. Working together.
That's right. So we're doing another insurance update for you here. So our goal at the start of the year was to do 12. We wanted to do one a month. So 2020 had different plans for us. So we've done 6 so far this year. So we're going to try to sprint to the end here. I don't think we're going to quite get to 12, but you're going to see more frequent updates from us with these videos. So if you have any topic ideas, feel free to put that in the comments below and we'll answer your questions. So most of these topics we get are questions that we get on a regular basis. So we like to make sure that we are providing useful information for you. So today, one of the big questions that we get is on homeowners insurance, and people want to know when it's time to put in a claim. So, they always have that question like, hey, this happened to my house. Should I put in a claim? What do you think, Marianne? When is the right time to put in a claim on your homeowner's insurance?
First of all, you got to ask yourself the one question: is it a covered claim? You can always call us, your trusted agent, and review it with us if you'd like to. And it's usually the easiest thing is if you're able to do that, is to do it that way. Be prepared. You might not get the answer you like. We'll definitely work with you. One of the things is if it's sudden and accidental, that is the biggest reason why you should put in a claim. Again, if there's a fire, again, absolutely put the claim in, call the company directly. If there's a windstorm that comes and a tree falls on your house, or if a tree falls on a structure, because it has to fall on some type of structure, whether it be your fence, your garage, your house, that's the type of thing it would be.
That's like the first thing that you ask yourself, like, is it a covered claim? The first thing that we always say, is it sudden? Is it accidental?
Yeah, exactly. The other thing is was the damage? There's other ideas that some people call us on. Gee, is it caused by poor workmanship? That's another thing. Is it? I know that there's a little story about a person who actually built a deck over a dryer event. Well, that dryer just kept on running year after year, and then all of a sudden the wood rotted out from underneath the deck. And is that a covered claim? No, it's not a covered claim. That's just clearly poor workmanship on that end. The other thing is if sometimes people call it, they find mold in their basement. If it's a slow leak from water over time and you got mold that's being formed, there's no peril there, that is not going to be covered as well. That's another type of a maintenance type of a damage as well. Wear and tear on your house, we're not a maintenance insurance company, so that wouldn't be covered either.
Insurance would be very expensive if it was a maintenance plan.
Yes, yeah, it definitely would be. It definitely would be. And the other thing is the malicious intent. So sometimes there's people who want to put in a claim and they themselves cause the claim, cause the issue. So again, that's malicious mischief, and it will be investigated, which insurance companies always do. So that would not be a covered claim either.
Yeah.
So
another thing that you always want to look at is what is your deductible. So obviously, if the damage amount is less than your deductible, we're not putting in a claim for it.
Right.
So the other thing, kind of our rule of thumb in our agency is we don't like to see you put in any claim where the damage is only 1.5 to maybe 2 times your deductible amount. So if you got a $500 deductible and the amount of damage is only $750 to $1,000, we'd like to see you keep those small claims off of your insurance. And kind of the reason being for that is claims go against your policy.
Yeah.
And you never know when that big claim is coming. So usually those smaller claims, sometimes they might be a little bit maintenance related. Where maybe it was like an old hot water tank that you knew replaced, but you just kind of kept putting it off and off and off until finally it leaked and caused a little bit of damage. Those are the things we kind of like to keep off the insurance, because if you end up with multiple claims in a relatively short period of time, even 5 years, insurance companies, they'll take action against your policy, meaning that they'll most likely non-renew your policy. Even if you have a small claim and maybe a larger claim, or really, some companies we've seen even 2 small claims, insurance companies just realize, hey, there's an issue here. This is a high frequency situation. We want to get off this risk before we get the big claim for it. And the issue with that is, once you're out and you have to shop insurance and you've been, non-renewed and you have 2 claims in the last 5 years, you end up not qualifying for most standard insurance companies.
Right.
So you have to go in kind of this high risk pool. It's going to cost you a lot more money for your insurance. So putting in that $750 claim to get $250 could really end up costing you thousands of dollars down the road on that.
Absolutely.
And these claims, they stick with you. So
a long time. Sometimes it's 5 to 7 years.
Yeah. So even if your claim is denied, you get 0 paid out. That still shows up on your record. As soon as that goes into the insurance company and you get a claim number for it, that's on your record.
That can never be deleted. It's there, and we just can't delete it. Even though $0, like you said, $0 is paid out. Claim is a claim. It cannot be deleted. And
that's one of the most common complaints we get from people when we run their claim history. They always say, "Oh, I had a claim, but it was canceled. It was removed because nothing was paid out." But it always shows up, and then they get upset. Well, why is it showing up? Why is this rate higher than it should be? And it's because it has that 0 paid out claim on there.
Yeah. So that's also another reason why sometimes it's better to call your agent and talk it over with us as well, instead of calling it directly to the insurance company. Because again, like you said, once you put that claim in, it cannot be deleted. So it's better to review it with us first.
Right. And we'll have that honest conversation with you. Like I always tell people, you might not like the advice that we give you.
Right.
In the end, it's up to you to make the decision on whether or not you want to put something in. We are just giving you our advice based on our experience.
Yep. So next question is, what should you do if you have a homeowner's claim? That's a great question. We always ask.
That is. So someone calls, they got a claim. And usually, a lot of times we'll get calls and the claim is actively still going on. Yes. So the one we get a lot is, my basement is flooding, and you can hear them sloshing around in the water in their basement. So the first thing we always tell people is prevent further loss. Yes. So if it's flooding from the basement, if it's coming from the pipes, find your shutoff for your house. That's one thing every homeowner should kind of know where it is know kind of where your whole house water shutoff is for the house. It's something that's typically usually pretty easy to find. You kind of follow the pipes to the front of your house until it comes out through your basement wall, and that's where your shutoff is. So you should know where that is and kind of keep it handy. So if your basement's flooding and the water's rising, start moving your contents out of the way that aren't damaged yet, that are at risk of being damaged. So that's part of your obligation as a client, as an insured, is to help prevent further loss. The one that we see a lot is when there's like maybe a windstorm or something like that, and there's roof damage, maybe a tree branch went kind of through a roof or something like that, or caused damage or fell on it. Your obligation is kind of get off the house. If it can't be repaired right away, have somebody tarp it. So no further damage gets into the house, because you just don't want it raining in there and water getting into your insulation and drywall and everything, because it would be a lot more expensive claim than if you just paid somebody to get a tarp. Insurance companies will pay for that.
Yeah, that's the important key.
Maintenance.
Yeah, so again, just want to reiterate on that fact too. Just keep your receipts. The insurance company will reimburse you for anything that you're using to prevent any further damage. So definitely keep those receipts, and you will be reimbursed for that.
Right, and don't get rid of any of the damaged items. So if you have goods that were damaged or property, keep that. And if you can not repair the damage, if it's not at risk of causing any further damage, don't repair anything until the insurance company has a chance to look at it. you're going to get a much better estimate if they can see it in its kind of damaged state as opposed to the repaired state, for it. So, but if you do have to repair it, like you said, keep receipts, take detailed photos, so they can do the best job to help reimburse you for that.
The other thing is make sure that you do notify either the agency or the insurance company on a timely manner too. So you do want to make sure the quicker that you do contact the insurance company, the quicker they will respond back to you, and the quicker you will be able to get your claim settled. So that's also very important as well. If you do have some type of criminal activity on your house, such as theft or vandalism, you do need to notify the police department as soon as possible as well. The insurance company will require a police report if there's any theft or vandalism onto your house. So that's also some key thing to remember as well when you're doing.
And that just helps them also. If items are recovered, they can basically get those possessions back for you if it was a theft scenario. I've seen that happen where somebody had a TV stolen. Well, they ended up catching this criminal in connection with a number of other crimes. They ended up finding all this property that was taken, and they were able to bring it back to the people who it was taken from.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. And this is a great time, like Red had said earlier, to start being organized. I always tell people start a folder. Get all the information into that folder, whether it be your receipts to prevent any further damage. You want to put in all the information about your adjuster, their phone numbers, their contact information as well. Any kind of inventory that you have, just keep a list. So if all of a sudden something is starting to, you remember something that was lost, make sure you just write it down. Photographs, pictures. We all have smartphones now. Great way just to start taking pictures of things as well, and just keep everything in a folder so you have everything. So when the adjuster calls you or if you've got any questions, you have everything there that you need. So it's really a great time to become organized. You could also do like a phone log to recommend that. So if you do talk to your adjuster on this date, make sure you write down who you spoke with, what the date that you spoke with them and what you discussed. Same thing if you call our office. You spoke with Mary Ann on such and such a date. This is what you told me to do. So again, just keep your phone log as well. So again, get organized when you have a claim. It'll be a lot easier for you in the end.
That's right. It's great to have that history, that kind of timeline, so you kind of know how your claim is progressing. The one thing I always tell people, everybody loves to screen their phone calls. I screen my phone calls.
Yes.
If a number pops up on my cell phone that I don't recognize, 99% of the time, I'm not answering it. This is the time you don't screen your phone calls.
Right.
You're gonna get calls from people and numbers that you don't recognize. Adjusters are extremely busy people. Very rarely will you ever call an adjuster and get them on the phone.
Right.
Because as soon as they call you, they've hung up, they're dialing somebody else, or they're in the field adjusting, settling claims for somebody else. So they're very difficult people to get a hold of. So I always tell people during this time, don't screen your calls, answer the calls, as soon as they come in, because every day that you go without communicating with the adjuster is just one day longer it's going to take to settle your claim.
And also note, most numbers that adjusters are calling from are 800 numbers, 866 numbers. So again, you think it might be a prank phone call, or take that call, especially if you're a claim, because those are the type of numbers that you're going to get calls from.
Right.
They're not going to be local numbers.
Exactly. Even if they are local, they're still using an 800 number for it.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
And the other thing is email. They're going to communicate to you through email. I know a lot of people don't sit at a desk like we do. I get a live feed of my emails as they come in.
Yeah.
So I'm on top of it. I know my wife, she's a teacher, so she is lucky if she has time to check her email once a day. During an active claim, make a point to check your email on a daily basis. Right. So because they might, sometimes it's faster for them to email you documents to complete. So if you can fill them out and email them back, and you don't have to wait for the postal service, those are all cases that are just going to help you get your claim settled faster.
Yep.
And I tell people too, your company has a mobile app, download it on your phone. So
yeah.
mobile
More
apps
insurance companies are having them. Yep.
yeah, and they're going to give you you can basically log in and check the status of your claim at any time. You'll always have your adjuster's contact information handy. A lot of them you can submit your paperwork through the app, so it just makes it a lot easier to help you settle that claim.
Yeah. Just like I said, everybody's got smartphones nowadays as well. So what's going to happen is you're going to take the pictures on your phone. You can email them right directly to the photos that you take right directly to the adjuster. So that makes it easier as well. So again, that phone is a great tool to have nowadays. That's for sure.
That's right. It's a curse. It's a curse and a tool.
It is. It's a curse and a tool. Yep. Another question for that we get asked is reason why people are unhappy with after a claim. So after you put in a claim, why some people are unhappy. I guess the first thing is because they don't have the coverage that was offered, or else they declined it. And that is something that we definitely do in our office. At the office is if you do decline coverage, we note it. Because again, we want to make sure that we did offer you that coverage. And if you decline it, you decline it. And if you decide to take it, we'll also note that, and we will add that coverage to your homeowner's policy as well.
That's probably one of the most heartbreaking things for us as an agent is to see that a claim that could have been covered wasn't because someone didn't purchase the insurance.
Right.
That was
and
awful.
Price is important. We do understand that, but you need to start also think that it's a small price to pay now for a huge claim in the future, because you want to be able to have that coverage when it's needed. That's for sure.
It's a balancing act. It's always between price and coverage. You got to find that middle ground where there's a value. I don't have an issue with somebody not having a coverage if they were expecting that. If it was a conversation that we had and said, hey, you have a gap in coverage here, and they said, you know what, I think the risk is low. I've got some financial reserves in the bank. I don't mind taking that risk on myself. So those are the cases where, all right, we had that discussion. They knew what they were getting into. Those are kind of okay, because it's okay for you to accept more risk on your own. You just need to know that you're accepting that risk. When people don't realize it, that's when the issue arises.
Right. Yep, so true. So the other thing is sometimes they don't have enough coverage as well. That's the other issue, is what you were saying. So sometimes what happens is people are not purchasing enough coverage, or their deductible is high, and some people like to have higher deductible because, just like you said, they're okay with that because they are able to accept the risk due to their financial stability as well. So that's okay as well.
And I'll tell you what, kind of the standard, when I first started, the standard deductible is $500. Now it's $1,000. Most companies won't even write lower than that. And honestly, I just increased my deductible on some of my policies to $2,500, just because I'm relatively handy, so I can fix most things myself for less. And I just know that for those kind of smaller claims, I'm probably not going to put them in regardless, just because I don't want them on my record. So I know I'm taking on more risk myself, but I'm comfortable with that, risk. And, the tough you talked about not having enough coverage. That's always a tough one, because you say, okay, we have one company that offers bundles, and part of that bundle is a siding and roofing restoration coverage. It gives you $10,000 of coverage. So if there's damage to your siding or roof, they're going to pay up to $10,000 to replace all your siding or your entire roof to make it look uniform. So you don't have to have kind of a patchwork roof or siding.
Yeah.
Now, once you buy the initial coverage, buying the incremental coverage on top of that is not that much more expensive.
Yeah, we're talking dollars, just simply dollar bills.
Exactly. So you go from $10,000 to $50,000, which is the max. It's like $15 to $20 a year.
Yeah.
So really, less than $2 a month for that increased coverage. Now, I know I've had the unfortunate pleasure of having to side one of my houses, and it was well over $10,000, and it was a modest size house. So some of these larger houses with more intricate shapes on them can be start to be very costly for, to side or to roof. So you typically $10,000 is not going to be adequate for people.
Right.
Like I said, you have that conversation. Hey, you get this initial coverage for 10, you can bump it up to 50 for less than $2 a month.
Yeah.
Well worth that coverage.
Absolutely. A lot of other times people don't realize that, like the siding on their house, the manufacturer doesn't make it anymore. Or the case could be they do make it, but now you've had sun that has come on it and it's faded. So now you're not going to be uniform. It could be the same exact siding, but it's faded on one side. It's not going to look uniform. So that's another perfect example how you want the whole thing to look uniform. Back to the same house that you had originally.
And manufacturers are smart. They're not going to make the exact same siding for years after year after year. They're going to make
or keep the same colors. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to make little changes here or there so you can't match up your old siding with your new, because they want people to side that whole house.
There you go. Another reason why people are unhappy after the claim is because they didn't understand the policy when they purchased it. I know I'm dating myself here, but way back when in the 70s, there used to be a guy named Cy Sims, and his biggest thing was, educated consumer is our best customer. And it's almost the same way. We want you to be educated. We want you to totally understand what the coverages are that you have and what they do cover. So we do send out, insurance reviews, and you should review insurance. At least once a year is great. But no longer than every 3 years. You should definitely do it at least every 3 years to review, just to see what your coverages are, understand them. You also mentioned about your deductible. Maybe they want to increase their deductible, save some money on that end as well. So again, an insurance review is great. This week I've done 3 of them, actually, with 3 different clients that we have, and it's a great way just to touch base. And again, every one of them, I save them money, whether it be $10 or $50. It was still a savings for them as well. So reviews always
worried with that, with those reviews, that they're going to end up spending more on their insurance.
They do, and some do, but a lot of times they don't. So it's actually.
But if they do, it's typically for good reason.
Exactly.
Because
like they realize they've got
an addition on their house, or
yes,
finish their basement,
yes,
or they got a pool, so they just wanted more liability coverage, or
yeah, or they put on that sunroom. Oh, this is addition. Yep, it's attached to your house. It's an addition, so you want to make sure that you're covered for that, and a brand new sunroom that you've just put in as well. Yep, so true, so true.
Another reason why people aren't happy after a claim sometimes is because they don't realize that the insurance companies will have a holdback amount on certain size claims.
Yeah. Yes.
Some people just think, okay, hey, the example is if you had a detached structure that is in maybe rough shape, like a detached garage or shed, tree branch falls on it. Say the insurance company estimate that it's $7,000 to replace that shed. You decide, what, I never use that shed. I don't need that shed. I'm not going to replace it. The insurance company's not going to give you a check for $7,000 because you didn't replace it. They're going to initially give you a check for $5,000. And they're going to say, okay, once you replace it, show us the receipt, send us a picture, and then we'll give you the remaining $2,000. If you don't replace it, you don't get that $2,000 because you've essentially been made whole just by getting that cash. Right. If you say, hey, I need this shed and I want it, as soon as you get that shed up, they're going to give you that remaining $2,000 for it. So that's one of those things where people don't understand, like, well, geez, my coverage says I get $10,000. They say it's going to take $7,000 to replace it. Why am I not getting that just because I'm not replacing it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another good point. Good point. The other reason why people are unhappy is that the insurance, they want the insurance company to pay for something that's not meant to cover. Say, for instance, a tree falls. It didn't hit any structure. It didn't hit a fence, just fell from a windstorm. There's no coverage on that from your homeowners. It needs to absolutely hit some type of structure, whether, like I said, be a fence, a shed, a garage, but it does need to strike a covered property. Wear and tear on your roof. That's another issue. We're not insurance company is not a maintenance. So if the wear and tear on your roof, it's not going to be covered as well on that one. There are maintenance contracts out there that people are buying now that they're advertising on TV for air conditioning, for your appliances and things like that. Those are always all those warranty type of policies that have out there, but your homeowner's insurance does not cover that type of thing.
I see that with a lot of new home purchases. They're kind of building that into the price, saying, hey, you can get this home warranty with this purchase of the house for whatever, 3 or 5 years, and they're financing it right along with the purchase of the home.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think that's it. Again, I think the other thing we did mention earlier, and we need to reiterate on this again, is that you should always review your homeowner's policy every 3 years. It really needs to be done every 3 years. If you want to do it every year, give us a call. That's great. We always love hearing from you. But every 3, you should not wait after 3 years, because you just never know. I mean, it could be something as simple as you paid off your mortgage. You never told us. So again, if you have a claim and you still have a mortgage on there, just think about it. You can get a check from the insurance company with your name on it and a mortgage that you paid off 3 years ago. You don't want that to happen. So again, if you paid off your mortgage, you need to let us know. So that's another one of the reasons to do a review, a homeowner's review, at least every 3 years.
Yeah, you never want to find out you don't have the proper coverage when you have a claim.
Yeah.
It's always best to find out before.
Yes.
So that's why we say review your policy. It's never convenient or fun to have a claim, but kind of rest assured when you do, your insurance agent and company this is when they are going to kick into action to help make you whole again.
Yes.
So this is where they strive. They want to make sure that you're satisfied with the claim, because really that is their biggest stamp of approval. You know, they sold you a promise, and this is their time to
shine
it with that promise.
Absolutely.
So now we hope that you find these videos helpful.
I hope so too.
When you are purchasing new insurance or just reviewing your existing insurance, if you're not a current client of ours and you'd like us to review your insurance for us, we'd be happy to help. Think of us at any time. Give us a call at the agency or shoot us an email. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Enjoy and stay safe.
Sooner than a month. Hopefully we'll talk to you sooner than a month.
Try about that. And everybody stay safe.